Alright, so we're going to have a look at this window. It's obviously broken, so we're going to look at trying to reglaze it, put a new bit of glass in and some new rubber. And I'll just basically talk you through the different ways to do it, even cutting glass to get it done. So bear with me. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this little nut and bolt out on either side, which will drop these arms out of this. And then there's a little rubber grommet at the end here which we can hit out with a screwdriver and then slide this window out. So we'll start with that.
Just point to that pin again. I see the one on this side. So you got to take that out.
So we'll take this out here, which will release this arm, because that basically goes through into there, like a cam setup. And then basically we're going to knock this little plug out here. It's a little rubber grommet that just holds, there's one either end that holds this sash in. So once we get that out, we can actually slide this panel out.
The director over there, keeping an eye on proceedings.
Sure.
What's next, boss? Okay, so we've actually got to pull these screws out either end up here. There's 2 screws either end. Get them out without dropping them everywhere. Get that?
What'd you break?
Oh, just a clip.
Did you want a little tap on the end of it, mate?
It's just that there, when it's hitting that there. We don't need this light anyway.
Oh, that can go.
1988.
You can take that one home with you if you
Yeah,
want.
I'd love it.
You want it?
I might put it in the ceiling at home. I wouldn't recommend doing this with a flathead screwdriver.
At least you got glasses on.
I've got my safety glasses on. Beautiful. It'd make a good bowl, but it's just have to fill up that hole in the bottom. Righto, let's have another go. Rightio, it's that easy. Rightio, well, we've finally got the sash out of that window. So what I'm going to do is basically I'll try and talk you through how to reglaze this and even cut a bit of glass to put in it. And then we've got some new rubber for it as well. So yeah, I'll basically run through sort of step-by-step process of how to do it. So first off, we've got to get the glass size. So basically we're going to measure this up and then cut the glass into a rectangle, and then I'm going to freehand cut these corners. So yeah, we'll start off by measuring it up. Now usually with these, if you butt the tape up on the inside, and then the inside of this metal here, this is daylight size, what we call. So usually your glass has got to have about 6mm cover either side. So we'll go daylight plus 12mm, which should be right.
stick.
Alright, so we're up to the stage of cutting the glass. Now this is 4mm clear float glass. You know, you can use a few different options. You could use a laminated glass, or you could use a toughened glass, which you'd have to order in. You'd have to make a template and take it to your local glazier to get done. But we're just going to use 4mm clear float, which is what's in the caravans at the moment. So first of all, we've got a glass cutter here. You could probably get one of these from Bunnings. This is not a Bunnings one, but I'm sure they'll be fine. So what we're going to do is cut the glass. So we've got 726. Now with a cutter you always go 2 extra mil longer. 726, 728, so there's 728. Then basically what you do is when you run the cut, you don't push down too hard, you just do it reasonably lightly. You just want to hear this, there's a particular sound. You can always have a little bit of a practice on a bit of off cut. Just like that. And then what you can do is use the end of the cutter and just tap a little bit at the end here, just to get a little bit of a start happening. Just here like that.
I don't think we can see that.
You can't really see it, it's a bit tricky, isn't it? And then what you do is you just lift it up and run it through. So that's our width. Now we're going to do the height, which is 526. So we want 524.
Yeah, this is the caravan workshop. Hello, Nonny.
Hello, can I join the workshop?
Yeah, come in.
Come in and have a look. 524, we want 522. And then again, nice light cut. Just like that. Tap the end a little bit. Get that start. There it is, I can just see it come through. And then you just tear it off like that. So what you want to look for, this is just for the novice, so you can just cut it like that and break it off however you want. So you can use this to practice. You can do a little bit of a squiggle if you want, but that's basically the feel, because if you push too hard, it's still possibly will work, but you've got a chance of it running off. So you just do it nice and easy, just like that. It's pretty basic cutting float glass like this. Obviously,
do you put oil in your cutter?
Yeah, well, basically what the oil does is it leaves, there's a little wheel here, and it just leaves a fine little film over the top of it. It helps run the cut. If there was no oil in this, it'd still probably work when it's new, but after a while it would fire off. You'd try and run it like that and it would split off. So you can actually use kerosene. You can use a bit of kerosene on a rag and just run it along where you're going to cut, and that actually makes it run relatively easy. Okay, so we've got our rectangle. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to lay the actual sash over the top of it, and I'm going to use a black texture and mark the radius, and then that way we'll just have to use our cutter freehand and just cut them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and lay the glass over the top of it. It's just a little bit easier to see.
Did you use your good tape measure today, mate? Does that fit?
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we? I've got one there that's 100mm short sometimes. I don't even think you've actually got a tape measure, have you?
Oh, maybe in the sewing kit.
Right. Ryan's got one of the ones that go up into a ball, and he strings it out to measure across the widths of your shoulders and the length and things like that. All right, that looks pretty good. So it's got about 6mm cover right around. So that's what you want, about that there. Now what we're going to do, that looks pretty good there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw, and I'm going to just trace around one of these lines as an arc. So we'll start on this side. As long as it's got cover of about the 6mm mark, we're alright. So we've got it, there's a bit of tolerance in it still. Don't get too close to my hands because I haven't done my nails this morning. Alright, so we've got our black texture arcs there. So we're going to go through cutting that. Actually, I've got to get some glass pliers to get that off. Ryan, do you want to have a go at doing this and I'll go and get the pliers?
Yeah, I'll do that. Go.
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, no, mate. Put it down. Okay, so we got rid of the chainsaw. Could not believe when I walked in and seen him do that. Typical.
Idiot.
Typical. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to freehand cut this and we'll break it off. Okay, so it's fairly straightforward. So we're just going to go over the top of that line. Like that. And then we've got, these are glass pliers. You don't have to use glass pliers, you could just use normal pliers if you want, just be real gentle, maybe even put a bit of rag over them. So that just gets that off there, and then what we can do with glass pliers is you can actually just round that edge out a bit like that. Just slightly. Do the other side.
Kind of look like you know what you're doing, Matt.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's sort of my trade, so I can make this stuff look pretty easy. Alright. We'll get rid of this so it doesn't go through the shed. Alright, so we've rounded off these corners, so I'll just get that black texture off. This is just a bit of metho on a rag. Just be gentle around there. You don't want to go cutting yourself, Ryan.
Yeah, that would be something I'd do.
Can't believe it. Can't believe he had a chainsaw. Alright, so we've got that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slide it up here a little bit out of the road. What we've got to do now is we've got to take these screws out. There's only one on this side, but there should usually be two either side. So we'll take them out and that'll take this top off so we can slide the glass down inside it. Sometimes these clips can break, they're only plastic, so. Alright, so we've got the top taken off here. Now I'll just give it to you to take over.
Wait.
If you have a look down inside here too, there's actually two bits of rubber. That just keeps the glass so it's not actually sitting on the metal, because if it was rubbing on that metal on the bottom and you're travelling along, it'll end up cracking in no time. It'd be unlikely that it would be missing, but if it is, just put a bit of packer in there, a bit of plastic or something like that. Alright, so now we're going to drop the glass in here. So what we're going to do...
Give me a pick.
Yeah, you pick that up. Do you want gloves?
Fingers under it.
Do you want gloves, mate, or not?
No, that's alright, mate. I've got tough hands.
You sure?
Yeah.
You got tough hands?
Tough hands.
Alright. So let's start off. I'll go up here a little bit. We'll flex it out. Usually he has gloves on for any of this sort of work.
You must have used his good tape measure on this one.
Yeah.
He's done well.
I can't believe it. Okay, so you hold that, mate, for a sec.
Yep.
What we'll do now, we're just going to drop this top in. Just pretty basic. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Fits like a glove.
Like I bought one.
Alright. Let's put some screws back in it. Do you know what this is called?
Red rocket. Come on, mate. I'm not that bad.
I know, he's all right. Don't worry. If you have a look around in his shed, he's got a fair few tools, but they're real clean. What we're going to do is, I think what we'll do is, we might put a little bit of silicone around this here, and then we'll flip it over, and then we'll run the new rubber in, and then we're going to flip it back over and clean the silicone off. That'll just lock it all in once it goes off. It'll be nice and tight. Alright, so I'll run the silicone around. Any clear silicone will be okay. So you just run that around, just a nice bead right around it like that. And then what we'll do, push it back like that. Now what we might do actually is put a couple of lumps of timber on there so we don't get silicone over this nice new bench.
A couple of lumps of timber.
You got a couple of bits of timber, we'll just, or something, we can just set it up. Alright, so we just sat there off on a couple of bits of timber just so we don't get silicone everywhere. Now this here, this is just soapy water and detergent. So, or water and detergent, which makes soapy water. It's a good spray bottle too. Okay.
Maybe need some more water in it. Looks like it has more foam in it. Okay.
Spray work though. Oh mate.
Going now?
It's good as go. Alright. Okay, now I'm just going to spray a little bit of soapy water around here like this. This is just for the rubber. Put the rubber in, which is here. Okay, so this rubber, really you would have to get this from a window and door factory, company, a glazier, anyone like that. There's all different profiles of this wedge rubber to suit different sizes of glass. So if you were to put thicker glass in this, this would be a thinner rubber. So what we'll do...
How much is that stuff per metre roughly?
Oh, it's probably about... you probably pay from a glazier probably about maybe $6 a metre, something like that. So what we'll do, we're going to start, I'll just cut that end off nice and square. Oops, I just put a cut in your new bench. Okay, so we're going to start from the top because we don't want to obviously put a joint down the bottom because that'll be a spot for water to get in. So what we do is you just push it in like that. There's actually a way that this goes. There's actually more legs on one side of this rubber.
Yeah. I'll just do a close up.
So there's more legs on one side of this rubber, as you can see. So the more legs, that actually goes against the glass. Okay, so it's directional. It actually fits both ways, but it locks in better like that. So what we do is you wedge that rubber in like that, and then what you don't do is you don't push it back like this because you don't want to stretch this rubber, because what will happen is down the track in a few years time that'll actually open up the joins and it pulls away from the corners, which happens to all the old rubber. So what you want to do is try and push it back that way all the time so you're actually compressing it. And then for the corner, we're basically going to cut this off. So just make it a little bit longer and just push it back in like that, and there you go. So that actually just wedges against itself. Then we start again. Top corner, work your way back up. Around the corner, pretty basic, same sort of thing, just don't stretch it. Push it back up like that a bit more. Now you don't want this rubber to be too loose. This is actually a perfect fit, really. So it goes in, you need a little bit of force to push it in, but it's not real easy, because if you could do it real easy, it's just going to fall out. So that actually locks in really nice. Make sure there's no bumps anywhere. Okay, then when you cut it, just cut it a little bit oversized, a bit longer, so it pushes back in like that. Okay, so then now we flip it over, and you've got a bit of silicone now that's pushed out. Okay, so what you do now, spray it with your soapy water. Try and get a better spray bottle, but... And then what we've got here, this is just a spatula. Again, you can get these from Bunnings. That just helps cut the silicone away. It's got different angles around it. So that way you can use, there's a curved one there, which is what I use a fair bit. So once it's sprayed up, spray the spatula a little bit as well with that soapy water. Because basically, if you get the silicone in to where it's got to go before you spray it, that's what you got to do. After it's all in, and when it oozes out, you can spray it up with the soapy water, and then that helps you cut the silicone away. Because if I just did that without the spray and you Yep, that's how you do it. It's pretty easy.
Kind of half looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, oh well. Yeah.
Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, yeah, please hit the subscribe button, because there's going to be plenty more coming. If you want to know a little bit more about glazing caravan windows, maybe just leave a comment below, and yeah, Floydie might get back to you if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Catch you next time.
Cheers.